Alright, good morning everyone. Today, the topic for today is again continuing on with unemployment from last week. Today, we are going to learn about youth unemployment and the consequences of that on our economy or the youth itself. Okay. Now, again, a thinking question: what do you think youth unemployment means to you? Okay. Now, think about this before listening any further. What do you think youth unemployment is? Now, the key vocabulary we are going to work on today is unemployment, employment, labor force, and unemployment rate. Most of these have been covered last week. I want you to write them down in your notebooks and write all the definitions as well. Okay. Now, let's keep going further. So, unemployment rate. Now, look at the unemployment rate. There are some figures from your book. So, youth unemployment rate in 2015 was 13.6%. Okay, so out of the total population of 5% who was unemployed, the youth unemployment rate was 13.6%. Okay, so again, labor force is someone who is looking for a job. They are the labor force, and out of those 13.6% people, out of the total youth, 13.6% people are unemployed. Okay. Now, what happens when there is unemployment? Okay, so unemployment has a very major impact on the economy. Now, when people are employed, when they are paid the salary, they pay taxes to the government. Okay, when they pay taxes to the government, that is the revenue for the federal government, correct? Now, when they're paying taxes, that's the money that they spend on the infrastructure, schools, roadways, railways, transport, everything, hospitals, education. Okay, that's the money they spend. Okay. Now, when there is unemployment, they collect less revenue in the form of taxes, because if the unemployment is rising, they're not getting enough tax. Their revenue is decreasing. Okay. Now, when there is unemployment, Australian government helps the unemployed in the form of social benefits. This is a perfect example in these days today. So COVID-19, people are getting job seeker, job keeper, people who are in casual jobs who don't have sick leave or personal leave, they get $300 when they get tested, and if they test positive, they get $1,500 so that they can stay home and they're not suffering a financial loss. Okay, so these are the social benefits that the government pays, but at the same time their revenue is decreasing, so it has a very major impact on the on economy. Okay, now let's look at the social consequences of unemployment. Now, there are many negative impacts of unemployment. First of all, the standard of living goes down. Okay, so people who don't have job, they don't have enough money to source the food, clothes, the basic needs. The standard of living is going to go down. Okay, they're going to miss on some very important things in life. Okay, loss of skills from workforce. Okay, that is another social consequence. Again, people will lose skills because they're unemployed. They might forget doing some things. They need to keep working in order to retain that knowledge that is required to be in workforce. Okay, now again, there are some psychological effects as well, such as depression. So people who are unemployed, they might end up in depression because it is very stressful to be unemployed, especially when you have a family, and you have to put food on a plate. Unemployment can lead to depression. Okay, now let's talk about youth unemployment. Why do youth have a higher unemployment rate? Okay, now youth is people who are not actually haven't actually graduated from university. They are between the age of 16 to 20, something like that. So why do youth have higher unemployment rate? The reason for that is a reduction in low skill jobs. Okay, now because youth is someone who is not very good, he's not doesn't have enough skills to get into the workforce, so they have to take on the low skill jobs such as cash register, sales assistants, clerk or a typist. So these jobs don't require any skills, so anyone who is able to work can work for these jobs. Okay, Now, when there is reduction in these kinds of jobs, there is youth unemployment because youth doesn't have the skills to enter the workforce. Okay. Now, another thing that is very important in these days today is lack of working experience. So, if you don't have experience previously, then it is highly unlikely to find a job because most employers prefer to hire people with experience rather than training someone from zero. Okay, because when they train you, it costs them money as well. So they prefer experienced people. The way it costs money when they train you is they'll have to ask someone else to train you as well, right? So they're taking that person off the job and helping them to train you, and again they're paying you money but you're still not working, you're still training. So actually they're losing money when they train people. Okay. Now this is just a little bit of data about Australia and looking at the youth unemployment rate. So look at this data here. The most unemployment in youth is found in Tasmania and Cairns, 20.5% and 21%, whereas in Victoria 17.5%, in Hume, which is just a little bit of data to see what's going on. So Western and Northwestern Tasmania suffer high youth unemployment than anywhere else in Australia, with Cairns affected almost as severely. Okay. Now, I'm going to go through 5 steps that are helps you to formulate the questions about an economic issue. So if you want to learn about an economic issue, this is how you will do it, and we are going to do the activity as well later on today. So the first step is identify the economic issue you wish to explore. So the problem of youth unemployment, for example, this is the one example. I've got some more examples later on in the slides, so just keep going. Now the second step is you need to decide on an overarching question. Okay, so for example, why is youth unemployment a problem in Australia? Okay, so this is a question you would like to explore, and then you will formulate some open-ended and close-ended questions. So let's go on to step number 3. Now, closed questions they have a very short answer, yes or no answer, or 2 or 3 words answer. Okay, so closed questions are very important as well to formulate and to know about the economic issue. So these are some examples on the topic that we are discussing, youth unemployment. Are youth more likely to be unemployed than others in a higher age brackets? Is youth unemployment a common problem in developed countries globally? Is youth unemployment more serious in cities than in country towns? So these are some of the questions that you are going to generate, closed questions. This is just to sort of understand your topic a little bit better. Okay, so when you're trying to learn about a topic, these are the things you need to consider. Okay, so first select the topic, create an overarching questions, create some closed questions. Okay, and then step 4 is generate an open-ended questions. So open-ended questions, they have a long answer. They don't have a yes or no answer. People can talk a lot in an open-ended question. Okay. For example, for the same topic, some of the open-ended questions are: what are the consequences of youth unemployment? Okay. What are the causes of youth unemployment? We've discussed all of these before. Why do employers prefer experienced workers? Okay. So we've discussed all of these 3 questions in the slides as well. Now the last step number 5. Now you need to formulate some questions that relate to the evidence surrounding an economic issue. Okay. Now when you're formulating questions, you need to have the evidence. It could be from the newspaper article, it could be from the research that you're doing. You need to collect the data and show that there is an evidence of this issue. Okay. For example, what evidence is there that confirms youth unemployment is rising? So it could be news articles, could be some other article from people, or some data like I showed you, data from Australia, things like that. What other sources might be needed? So think of some sources that will help you collect the evidence. Okay. So these are 5 steps. Now what you need to do is just a recap of again 5 steps. Identify the economic issue. decide on broad overarching questions, so the question that covers your topic. Look at some 3 or 4 closed questions, look at 3 or 4 open-ended questions, and formulate some questions that relate to the evidence surrounding an economic issue. So evidence is very, very important when you talk about an issue. Okay. Now this is a question you need to work through. This is on page number 487 of your textbook, and it is source 3. So think about an issue that you would like to explore more today, so you'll be doing your own research. For example, some of the examples I've put down for you are the social impact of youth unemployment, economic impact, solutions to youth unemployment, problems caused by youth unemployment. So you can pick any of these topics, or you can pick your own topic if these doesn't resonate with your interest. So happy for you to pick any other topic. Now after you pick the topic, you have to decide on an overarching question. Okay, now you need to fill in this table in your books. If you don't have the book, use your notebook to fill up this table and send it to me. Okay, you need to conduct some internet research to find out the answers to the questions you have proposed. Okay, now this is again a bigger version of what's on previous slides, so you can use this slide to write it down in your notebooks. Okay, now once you're done, share this with me. On the next pages there are some examples of closed and open-ended questions, so I would like you to go through this these closed questions and open-ended questions to see how you can formulate these questions. Okay, I have to finish the video here because I only have a 15-minute limit to do the video, and it's almost 12 minutes, so it will take a lot of time. So go through these, look at the close-ended questions and look at the open-ended questions, and formulate some questions for your idea. Okay, have a good day, guys. I'll leave a note on Teams as well. Okay, thank you. Bye bye.